We're looking at the end of the American Empire.
I think it's going to happen at a shocking speed. So 1974, we went from everything looks okay to the worst recession since World War II in 4 months. I'm thinking it's going to look similar because of the speed of the monetary tightening, the speed of the rise of prices. So I think we are going to have a very ugly few months, both economically and for markets.
Dream. It's about, the coming financial collapse and civil war. But I'm just gonna relay the dream. I remember I was in a field, and I remember there was this man that was saying something about the economy. It was implying that there's gonna be a financial collapse, and people should get ready to pull their money out the banks. And I remember saying to myself, or asking him, so where should we put our money? And then in the dream, it came in my spirit, lay your treasures up in heaven. And then the guy was implying that we should put our money in his investment firm. And then all of a sudden, I was in the open field, one side and from another, a lot of people. But when they came, they drew out their guns. All I heard was click, 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 click. Just a lot of guns. A lot of machine guns. And I realized, however, that they were not aiming for us, but rather they were aiming for each other. And I remember saying to myself, this is a civil war. And I remember looking on their faces, and the expression on their faces, I can read what they were thinking. And their expression on their faces it was like they were saying to themselves, I cannot believe this is actually happening. And then the dream ended. When it ended, came into my spirit, financial collapse, in America, and civil war in America. But I know the Lord is speaking to his people, sending them, visions in the night, dreams about things that is coming. And I know there's something coming to this nation. There's things on the horizon. Financial collapse, civil war. I don't know when, I don't know how soon, but I just want to relay this message. I just want to relay this warning, Definitely pray, pray, because if people repent, things like this can be delayed or averted.
I saw people jumping out of high-rise office buildings and other tall buildings. I saw people jumping off of tall bridges, intentionally crashing their cars into oncoming cars or trucks, or even into bridge abutments at high speed. I saw people running around screaming, weeping, wailing, and gnashing their teeth. I saw people go mad and kill their entire family, and then kill their neighbors, and keep killing until they were stopped or they killed themselves. I saw people strip off their clothes and run naked in the street, screaming as if in pain. I saw people shake their fist up at God and curse his name for what was happening in the world. I saw riots everywhere, and everything was burning. Everyone seemed to go mad. I saw nations also go mad, and even they did unspeakable things. Everything was closed. Money was worthless. Your life savings was gone. Everything you worked so hard for your whole life was now gone. And the people, they went mad. Now, Even gold and silver were worthless. The rich in their underground bunkers, they will smile, much like Satan, thinking they are safe. But their safety is only temporary, only for a short time. I saw earthquakes all over America, but especially in the Cascadia region off the Oregon and Washington coast, and then in central and southern California, and then the New Madrid area and southern Missouri. I saw the Mississippi River widen up to 100 miles wide in some areas, and it split America in half. I saw a very major tsunami on the west coast, and then an even larger tsunami on the east coast. The east and west coast of America were totally destroyed. Jeremiah 51:42. The sea has come upon Babylon, and she is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Bloody riots everywhere, civil war, foreign troops invade America, nuclear weapons set off over major American cities. No one could take a bath, as there was not even any clean water, not even any drinking water. So there was certainly no water to take a bath with, unless you had a nearby lake or stream to bathe in. But even that water was contaminated with blood and bodies and dead animals, so almost no one bathed in that place in that time. There was no power, so no water, no lights, no heat, no air. Living in a home was more like living in an above-ground cave. All hospitals, clinics, and doctors' offices were closed. There was no medications of any kind. All the police, fire, and ambulance services were closed, and there was no phone service, so no one could call anyone, even if you tried. And if you get into a serious problem, there was no one coming to help you. You were on your own. So consequently, everyone was filthy in rags and had not bathed in months, and most looked and smelled like they had not bathed in years. I saw that every town and every city had blood and bodies in the streets. I saw that almost every yard had bodies lying in the yard. The smell was unbearable, and the smell alone, night and day, never stopped, was enough to drive many people mad. You could not get away from that smell of dead and decaying bodies everywhere. And there was no one to pick up all the bodies, so they just piled up. In that time and in that place, there was no food, and parents will trade their children for a handful of beans or rice. Cannibalism now runs rampant across America, as there is nothing to eat. People will eat their pits, then rats, then leaves, bark, grass, weeds to try to stop those terrible gnawing pains in their belly from being so hungry. Then they will eat people. Then the people will become something other than human. Their DNA will be changed. But there will be a faithful remnant, God's tribulation saints, that will not take the mark of the beast and will not allow their DNA to be changed to Satan's DNA.
What the Lord had shown me in 2012 was the United States gets attacked with nuclear weapons. And so what the Lord showed me was 5 missiles or 6 missiles launched out of these ships. There were 5 ships, 6 cities were hit that I saw. I fell asleep, I dreamed it again. The same cities got hit again. Florida, Manhattan, Washington, D.C., Central United States, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington State, near Seattle. And then a few months later, I dreamed I was at a train depot and there was a monument to the destruction of the United States of America. And he said, America will burn. America is going to be judged and America will be burned. And he was very angry, And he said, judgment is coming to the church, and I'm going to start with the shepherds. That's what he said to me. I dreamed 5 times that America's attacked by nuclear attack. I dreamed I was in a fairground. The phone rang, and it was my brother. My brother was in a retirement home at the time. He had dementia, so he couldn't really talk or do anything. And so he called. He was all normal, and he's like, Gary, it's happening. It's finally happening. I'm like, what? And he was all excited. I said, what's happening? And he says, well, the thing that you said, that thing. And I said, what thing? He said, the thing you've been saying. I said, what thing have I been saying? He said, China and Russia, they're attacking America. In fact, the missiles are on their way. I said, what should I do? And he says, his voice changed when I said, what should I do? And it was God's voice then. And he said, you must warn the church. And then a church appeared. Okay? A church appeared in front of me behind those lights that were hanging in the power poles. And it was a big white circus tent with red stripes on it. And there were people in there. On the roof, had red stripes. And so they were in there and they were playing the piano and singing and practicing church. And they were giggling and laughing and stuff. And so Abraham and I went in there and they stopped us at the entrance. There was like a little vestibule in there and they stopped us right there. They're like, what do you guys want? And they go, what do you guys need? So, I came in here to tell you, something from the Lord. And so they asked me what it was. And I told them we need to warn people. China and Russia have just attacked America. Missiles are coming. We need to tell people to get home and buy some supplies and some water and stuff. But I don't want you to, cause them to panic. Just tell them that. And then you need to tell them to repent of their sins and to get their hearts right with the Lord. And so they went in and they said it from the pulpit. Like, oh, yeah, everybody, China and Russia are attacking us. And I was looking at people as he was talking, and he was just whispering it. And people were just thinking about what they're going to do tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to watch the football game. I'm going to mow my yard. And another guy was thinking about, I'm going to wash the car. And this person was thinking about buying a new TV. And I was like, what is wrong with these people? They're in church. They're not even thinking about God. I said, hey, you need to say it louder to the guy. And so he said it a little bit louder. And then I said it a third time, you need to say it louder. Finally, he said it louder. I was just frustrated. And I woke up. And the Lord had shown me in a dream that, I had another dream. I was in a big factory and I'd seen that there was going to be an attack on the United States. And it had to do with Russia and Ukraine. Russia attacks some NATO forces near Ukraine. And now they're over there in Ukraine.
In a while. Now, y'all, in this dream, it was very odd, but then again, to me, it made sense. I was in some town, and there was hardly no one there, and I remember it being in Russia. And for some reason, I had my truck, and I have a little 4-wheel drive Toyota, and I have off-road tires on it, but there was a rain that was coming. It was the final rain before the ground freezes and it snows. I remember that Russian man telling me that this is the final rain is coming. And there was this long, it was like a dirt road, but it wasn't hard dirt, if that makes sense. And he told me that he wanted me to see something for myself, and told me where to go down the road. But I did. I drove down this dirt road, and I remember it was really, which I'm used to it with Louisiana roads, it was real bumpy, and I get down there, and there was it veered off to the left or the right, and I couldn't remember which way to go. And I asked him, I hollered out. It was about, I don't know, a quarter mile, but I could still holler to him, and he hollered back. He told me go right, and I said okay, and I went right, and I stopped maybe a mile down the road, and I saw missiles hitting this town, and then everything changed. But when I was there, they were waiting on something. They were waiting on the ground to freeze or something so they could move. Didn't make sense to me, but now that I sit and think about it, it really does, because the way the road felt with my truck, being I had to have it in four-wheel drive riding down this road, even though there was no mud, it was just soft dirt. They were attacked before the ground froze in my dream, and it was the U.S. that did it. You know, because they couldn't move their tanks, they couldn't do anything until the ground froze. The guy wanted me to see it for myself. Who does it? It wasn't Ukraine, it wasn't NATO, it was the U.S. in my dream. But the whole scene switched, and it was like I was looking at it from a screen and seeing everything that was going on. And I saw these missiles hitting what looked like villages. That's the best way I could put it, but it was in Russia that they were hitting. They weren't targeting military, it was people like you and I. And I was disgusted by it, and so was Russia. And in my dream, I saw a fist, and it reared back like this, and it was about to swing. And then I woke up, and I knew that fist was Russia. But I also saw in my dream, the U.S. didn't have the economic backing. They didn't have anything to last, but Russia did. They had the fuel, they had the food, they had the ammo, they had everything that the U.S. no longer did. So that adds up to the other dreams that I've had about the U.S. being utterly destroyed. It really makes sense now. It felt so real to me, and I just felt the urge to share, y'all.
And the Lord had told me that to make a video and say, tell America, thy fall shall be furious. You see, the Bible tells us in Joel, in the last days, I'm going to pour out my spirit, and your old men are going to dream dreams, and your young men are going to see visions.